All right, so we got some good news and some ish news. Most of it's pretty good. Credit to Lance Martin. Who knows Lance? Okay, Lance Martin, if you don't know him, Google him, write him down. Okay, he does a market update event every so often. He's really good at it, okay? He also does, I try and attend it every single year. Okay, I think he's doing more of them now too. So I borrowed these slides from Lance. Lance, thank you. I didn't ask for permission, but hopefully it's cool. I did source you, so, anyways, they're good slides and it's a good presentation. So I think when he announces it, December 5th is gonna be the next one. So if you want to Google Lance Martin, December 5th, market update, whatever, check him out. He does a really good job. And Chris Thornburg, who we will have on that panel, an economic professor with, I think it's Beacon Economics is the company he works with. Chris I've followed for years now. I wish I would have listened to him more, especially during COVID when he was calling the spike back up. And I was like, I don't know. But he was right. So great economic guy. He's, anyways, check that out. Okay, so median price. Basically, let me see if I get this right. So that is our median price right now. Okay, so Orange County is 1.3 mil. Los Angeles is just shy of $1 million. Riverside's at 625, and San Bernardino County is at 535. Okay, so those two down there are really the ones we're concerned about, unless you're investing in a lot in LA. Orange County, I guess. But that's our median price, okay? And you can kind of see on that chart behind there that except for Orange County, which has kind of fallen off a little bit. I mean, when I say fallen off, they've gone from 1.4 and a half to 1.3. Oh my God. Yeah. You know. So, but they're definitely down, but the rest of them have kind of leveled off a little bit. Now, for those of you that have watched, listened to Bruce Norris or Chris Thornburg or any of these guys over the years, the long and the short of it is that we pretty much burned up all of our appreciation for the next decade all in 2 years, in 2020 and 2021. Okay, is that huge ramp that you had up a couple years ago basically ate everything. Okay, so we might go up, we might go down a little bit, but we're basically going to go sideways for the next 7 to 10 years. Okay, that's kind of the consensus. That was the last time that was about 6 months ago plus. Okay, so I don't know exactly what they're saying today, but about 6 months ago is what we're saying, and I don't think we were anticipating what happened with the Fed today, which we're gonna talk about at the end of this slide. Okay, so I'm not sure exactly where things are at, but this is the data at the moment. Okay, this is year over year, so median household year over year, we are up in single digits, which is a healthy appreciation. Okay, so we're up 3% in Riverside, we're up 3% in San Bernardino County, and Los Angeles and Orange County, they're up 5% from last year. Okay, August of 23 to August of 24. Okay, so median's got up a little bit. Okay, which doesn't make sense with that chart right there. So maybe that chart's off. New and active listings, so all that's good. Okay, we want to be 3%, 3 to 5% up from where we were last year. That's good, right? Yeah. Definitely don't want to be down. Okay, so new and active listings. The left right there is new. This is active. Okay, so what we're seeing here is that new listings were up a lot in Riverside, 10% new, 2% in San Bernardino County. So people are finally deciding what's been going on is everyone's been sitting on their houses, right, on their interest rates, and then we've had a really low supply. Okay, so what's good about this is that we have new listings coming in. What's also good is that we have active listings. Okay, there's a good and a bad side of that. Okay, anybody disagree with these numbers? It's okay. I have been wrong occasionally. Every day, according to my girlfriend. All right. What's down though is pending sales. Okay, pending sales is down a lot. Okay, and most people, what we normally look at with this stuff, and again, I'm not an expert on market data. Okay, I just there's a few people I follow, I relay it to you guys. Okay, I'm not sitting there, doing math. Okay, so the way I understand it is that pending sales being down would normally be kind of a bad thing. Okay, but with what's been going on with markets or with interest rates and everything like that, we know that for the last couple of years, everything's been down due to interest rates because we've had 7-8% interest rates, and now they've come down quite a bit. We're sitting at like I think today we're sitting at like 6.5 for a 30, and
I've been doing stuff in the fives right now.
in the fives right now. Steve Lazarson, one of our sponsors, by the way. Sorry, I forgot the sponsor slide. I apologize.
Hey, Rich, is that left side of that supposed to be August 2023?
No. This isn't year over year. This is right now. So that's new. And I don't know what qualifies as new. I should have looked that up. Anybody? Any agents out there, MLS experts? What is considered new?
Like it came on the market?
Like it just came on the market, how long they consider it new?
And then just like it just came on the market in August? That's what it looks like today.
Yeah, so basically like August on the right, okay, this one, active listings, is all of the active listings. Okay, it doesn't matter if it's been active for 6 months or it's been active for 2 days. It's an active listing, okay? The one on the left is new, and I don't know what the cutoff is considered new, I'm sorry. Okay, so let's say, I don't know, a week, maybe 2 weeks. So the new listings are up, active listings are up from last year, which is good because literally last year, everything, you guys know, everything just like shut off. It was like, boom, we're done. So we're up. The problem is though, is that pending sales is still down. So what does that tell you? Any takers? There's a lot of inventory. People aren't pulling the trigger.
Or they can't qualify.
They can't afford it. Can't qualify. What are you seeing? You seeing people that can't qualify, or?
More people qualifying, more transactions starting to happen now because I've had people from 2 years ago that couldn't qualify for a certain level house. Now, with the rate being down from the 7s to getting them into the 5s, they can qualify for a lot more. So, and especially in the commercial end, you're going to see a big boom in that because the 0.5% rate drop is that's straight across for the commercial loans. So
Yep.
we're getting a lot of
Okay.
requests for that.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So it's going to be like a mixed bag here. So what Steve was saying was, now he's got people that didn't qualify for the house they wanted, that 7.5, but now at 5.5, they might qualify for that house that they wanted. So also what you're seeing with this is, I think there's been a lot of people recently. Well, you still got people putting houses on the market that are asking way too damn much money, that still think it's 2021.
They do.
Right?
They do.
And two, that you got more people, like these numbers are good, right? But why you see this is that you have a lot of, I can't talk, like family members and, we're going to wait. We're going to wait. We're going to wait to see what happens at the election. We're going to wait to see if the rates drop. We're going to wait a little bit. So I think you see a lot of people waiting, even though there are people that have to move no matter what. But I think that's what pending sales being down like that is telling you, that the supply is coming up, but right now that supply might still not be realistic. So maybe we're in for a little bit of a price drop. I don't know. But we'll talk about that in a second. So days on market, and this is why pending sales aren't that big of a deal that they're down that much. Okay, because days on market, that's good, right? Anybody think that's bad? 12 days for Orange County, you're still selling, you got a price that's, or a price that's house right. A house that's priced right in Orange County, boom, 12 days, you're out. That's phenomenal. Los Angeles County, 15, Riverside, 21 and 21. As far as I've been told, a 30-day days on market is still a pretty healthy market, no matter what's going on in the rest of the market, okay? And that typically we try and stay around a 3-month supply. So all of those numbers look good, which means I think people are just sitting on the fence a little bit, or asking too much, that those new properties that are coming online aren't necessarily primed to sell, okay? So all that's good. Yeah, any disagreements, any thoughts? Okay. And interest rates, okay? So today, if you weren't following it, they've been talking about doing it for months now, okay? Everybody expected that they do a minimum of a 25 basis points drop. They actually did a 50, Okay, so they did a 50-point basis drop announced today. So what does that mean? Okay, this doesn't, it correlates with what interest rates are that you can borrow money at for mortgages and commercial and you know, different kinds of loans. Okay, it correlates, but it really doesn't it's not like a eye for eye effect. Okay, so what this does, what the Federal Reserve base rate is what banks lend money to banks at. Okay, when they lend money back and forth, that's what it's charging. Okay, so right now it dropped a half point, basically. Okay, so banks can borrow money at less, which means their basis for borrowing money is lower, and generally that means it gets passed on to consumers as well. Okay, it doesn't mean that it's a 5% rate, it's a 5.5% rate today, and boom, it's going to be a 5% rate tomorrow. It could mean that. It very well could, but it normally doesn't. Okay, it's a little bit more gradual. Okay, but the good thing is that it's the first time they've done this in 4 years. So the last 4 years, we've been on a rate increase. Now they dropped it a little bit. And, you know, I don't know if you guys, how close you guys all paid attention, but when, you know, things were getting to 7, 8%, people were starting to get pretty worried. Okay, and they came back down, and now we're at 5.5%. And it's looking like, honestly, within the next month or two, being back in the 4s is not entirely out of the question. Okay, so for you investors, obviously, for what does that mean for us? Sorry, this is the chart. Okay, so you can see back in June 23, we're at 7.5, almost hit 8, and then we've been steadily working our way down, and now they've dropped it. Okay, so we should hopefully see a more friendly interest rates over the next, year or two. Okay, or at least until the next meeting, which is what do they meet, quarterly or semi-annually? It's quarterly, right? So at least for the next 3 or 4 months, we should see some rates coming down in mortgages. Okay, so does that mean they're going to cut it again 3 months from now? I don't know. Okay, nobody really does. We could guess, but I don't want to get sidetracked in the whole discussion about how the Federal Reserve works. Okay, so but for right now, it's good news. Okay, it's good news. It means that the rates are going to probably come down on mortgages a little bit more. We might be back in the 4s. And if you're on the sideline to buy rental property, now might be a good time. Now will be the best time it's been since, August of 2022. So talk to Steve. All right? Now, any questions about those numbers, market numbers? Anything? Good? Okay. All right. Now let's talk about ADUs and the housing crisis. When I say there's a housing crisis, what does that mean? Not enough houses? There's a shortage? Affordability? Anybody disagree that we're in a housing crisis? Okay. You've all seen headlines and all kinds of stuff about homeless camps. You've seen the videos of people riding through. I don't know if you've driven around any parks in San Bernardino. I don't think you can actually go into a park in San Bernardino anymore without, a full-on encampment being in there, at least that I've seen in a long time. The Santa Ana River, this is just in where I kind of know, this is happening all over the state, right? So we are in a massive housing crisis. We have been in this state since I've been alive. I feel like as a little kid they were talking about this stuff, and it hasn't gotten any better. So in fact, it's gotten a lot worse. So median rents keep going up. This bottom chart here is basically like what you could afford if you were minimum wage, which is pretty much nothing. And I don't know how many people are actually on minimum wage. That's just minimum wage. But I meant to look the statistic up. But most people are paying over half of their income, their monthly income, just in rent. Which, regardless of what your politics or what you think about whichever runs the country or the state or whatever, it's a mathematical equation. Okay, when people can't afford to buy rent or to pay rent and also pay for food, society starts to falter a little bit. Okay, families start breaking up. People end up on the streets. all kinds of stuff, bad stuff happens, and it's happening, quite a bit. So also with rent, it's gone up astronomically for most people. And just in California, this is actually for the whole country, but you would think it was for California. California has 181,000 homeless people, which accounts for 28% of the nation's homeless population. So we have pretty much 30% of all the homeless in the entire country are here in California. Now, I could speculate on what the reasons for that all of it is. My main one would probably be the weather's pretty hospitable here to stay outside year round. Is probably the biggest one. Now, I know that there's been policies and whatnot over the years that have encouraged people to come here, or either against their will or for their will or whatever, okay? We're just talking about the numbers here tonight and hopefully trying to talk about a solution, okay? Roughly half of all the people that were unsheltered were in California, okay? We also have the second largest increase after New York when it came to homeless people. And if you look in our cities, like the biggest areas that have homeless, we're in there multiple times. Okay, so we're in there, Los Angeles at the top, no surprise there. San Jose, Oakland, Santa Ana, Orange County, San Bernardino City, Riverside, right there. If we combine those, we'd actually be higher than Orange County and pretty close to Oakland. So, what do we do? At this moment, we are growing twice as fast as the rest of Southern California, okay? And this was pulled from a report that the California Department of Finance put together. We're estimated that we're gonna grow Inland Empire, Riverside, and San Bernardino, and they call it Ontario now. So it's like Riverside, San Bernardino, and Ontario, that area, the inner Inland Empire, not all the way out to the desert and everything like that, just the inner Inland Empire. We are gonna grow twice as fast as the rest of SoCal in the next 25 years. Now what that means is, so I'm getting ahead of myself here. So we are 1 million units short today, okay? Right now, we need 1 million units right here in the Inland Empire, okay? In California as a whole, we are 3.5 million units short, okay? So the million of those 3.5 million units are right here in the Inland Empire, okay? So, if you hear me people talking about, I can't find a deal, there's 1 million of them out there. A lot of deals out there, okay? So we are 1 million units short right here in the Inland Empire, okay? 3.5 million units short in California, and we are projected to grow 1 million by 2048. So in the next 25 years, the Inland Empire is gonna grow by 1 million people, okay? So, and not every one person has their own house, okay? So, but you guys see the problem here.
But
We're 1 million units short right now, today.
what does that mean? Built?
What do you mean? What was the question?
1 million units short.
1 million units short is that we need,
Units that aren't built yet, right?
that aren't built yet, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, we are 1 million, we need 1 million, right now today,
We need
tonight at 7 o'clock, we need 1 million housing units, okay? 1 million of them. And we're expected to grow our population over the next 25 years by 1 million more people. So even if we built 1 million units right now, today at 7 o'clock, we said, boom, we're gonna build 1 million units. And it took us a year, which is out of the question. But let's say we could do it. We're still gonna be short. So it's like a never-ending shortage that is only going to get worse. Which is why, a lot of these metrics where we're slowing down on price and a lot of things is we have this chronic supply issue. So if you're really short on supply, it's really hard to get a price to go down without artificially making it go down, okay? So anyways, that's 5.5 million people that are gonna live in the Inland Empire in 25 years, okay? How many houses is that gonna be? Right? It's a lot of freaking houses, okay? So, I didn't do the math, okay? But let's just go with me that it's a lot of freaking houses, okay? And our median rent right now is the 9th highest in the nation, okay?
You say our mean Inland Empire?
Our meaning the Inland Empire. It's the 9th highest median rent in the nation. Okay, so you got high rent, no supply, ton of people. What happens? You're going to have homeless people. It doesn't matter what policy you have in place. You're going to have homeless people. Lots of them. Because there's nowhere for them to live. That's my take on it anyways. Like you wonder why people are living in their RVs down on, wherever that they can park them. What choice do you have at that point? So yeah. So let alone they're not, okay, I'm not going to go up and I'll get sidetracked. Okay, so we're trying to stick with ADUs today. All right, so what do we do, like, moving forward? So the solution here, what do we keep doing? Like, do we just build more houses, right? Who wants to just build more houses? We just build more houses just like we've been doing right now. We just build more single-family houses. Ready? Is that? There's no wrong answer here. It's okay.
Well, not just the article is there's lots of apartments being built.
Lots of apartments being built. Okay.
A lot.
What's that?
A lot of them.
Yeah, I don't know the number. But I know it's weird because you see, like, you'll be driving down the freeway, like, they're building houses there, they're building houses there, they're building houses there. It's not enough.
But my question is, like, we can build all the houses, but if those people aren't gonna qualify for those houses, like, where does that?
So we can build all the houses, but all those people are going to qualify for the houses.
They're not gonna qualify for the houses.
I think that's don't take this the wrong way. I think that's an assumption you're making that might be not as accurate as you think.
Like for the homeless people?
Not necessarily homeless people, but for people that are needing houses. Like we're talking about, like, we're not just talking about homeless, okay? I know that was the slide, but we're talking about unsheltered too, like people that have to live with their, live with extended family.
Gotcha.
Because, it's not just homeless people.
Okay.
So, yes, not every homeless person is going to qualify for a job. I think you might be surprised that more of them might. There's some people working it out there. They know how to hustle. So, but the problem with building just more single-family houses, and I don't know if you ever tried to build in California, one is infrastructure. Okay, so like every time we go out and just expand and go this way, we got to build all the infrastructure. Okay, so we got to put in the roads. We got to put in the sewer systems. We got to put in the schools. Yep, the schools. And everything's got to be built from scratch. It's not just a house. Okay, and we endlessly keep going. And what else happens when you endlessly keep going sideways and you just keep adding freeways everywhere? More traffic. Yep. So the infrastructure is a problem to do single families. Okay, cost. Going from scratch, I'll just give you guys a number. Anybody want to take a wild guess what it costs per square foot in California to just build a house from scratch on an empty plot of land? 185, 200, 250, 350 to 400? 5? We got 5. Going once, going twice. 525. I suck at this. Where's Rafa? So like basically, general contractor nailed it. $300 to $400 a square foot to build single family from scratch, permits and everything in California. Okay, and the red tape to allow you to do it. Okay, and time, the red tape, the permits, all that kind of stuff. Okay, so it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of resources. Anybody heard about ADUs?
Yes.
Okay, anybody built an ADU? All right. So with ADUs, what don't we have to do?
Find land.
You already have the land. You don't have to expand out. A lot of the infrastructure is already in place. We already have the sewers. We already have the power lines going there. What else was on the list? Roads. Schools. We just got to throw more trailers in, right, for the students? That's a whole different ballgame. All right.
There's a high school that my kids went to.
Right?
They've
been doing ADUs in schools my whole life. Shit, you just made me realize that. Sorry, Kristen.
They had temporary trailers at my kids' high school that were only supposed to be there a year.
Oh, yeah. They all say that.
Just now, my kids are now in their 40s and late 30s, and they just now started building buildings in place of those temporary shelters.
Yep. Yep. So it's good enough to
Has been,
you know, educate the children in, like,
Yeah.
why can't you just live in it? But anyways, so infrastructure is the cost of infrastructure is a lot lower, okay? Because of that, because you don't have to do all of the, what is your square footage or your cost to build now? Yeah, pretty much half. Pretty much half. Especially if you're gonna do it, which we're gonna talk about here, especially if you're gonna do it within an existing structure. Okay, you don't have to build it from scratch. Okay, so you're talking $300 to $400 a house, a unit, or $200 a square foot. Okay, what would you rather do if you were a builder or investor? Who wants 200? Who wants 400? Okay, time. A lot of these rules that we're going to talk about have been, they have to approve your plans within 60 days or give you corrections. They have to approve or deny your plans within 60 days. Okay, they can't sit on them. They can't make you do a whole bunch of runarounds and blah, 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 blah. Okay, so with a lot of these rules that we're going to talk about and updates, a lot of this stuff's been wiped out. Okay, any questions so far? Okay. I don't remember why I put that on there. Are they renter friendly? Because your costs are lower. It doesn't, like, if you want to build a 1,000 square foot house at $400 a square foot, how much you got to rent it for? 4,000. Come on, 1% little people. Let's go. So, 4,000 minimum. Okay, depending on your strategy, but 4,000 we'll just say for argument. If you built it that same 1,000 square foot house, what would it need to be at $200 a square foot? 2. Does that sound a little more doable? So, for everybody that wants to be a landlord here, or buy and hold person, one person. Okay. Does it sound like it'd be easier for it to pencil at $200 a square foot versus $400 a square foot?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about ADUs in general. All right. So it's an accessory dwelling unit. It's what the ADU part stands for. It's been known as a granny flat. Anybody other terms? Mother-in-law suite, mother-in-law quarters, guest house, casita. Nice. Man cave. Use it as that, yeah. Yeah. She shed. Yeah. Yep. So basically a unit that, you know, and you've probably all seen one of these, and they probably, a lot of them weren't even legal. You know, I know my aunt had one in the back of her house growing up, you know, that my uncle's mom lived in, and I don't think that thing was permitted. You know, I doubt it, but it was perfect. I mean, it was a whole extra kitchen, a whole extra bathroom, it had a door that's shut, you know. Anyways, so the other concept here is upzoning. Okay, so that's basically what we're talking about here. So it's upzoning. The big fight between a lot of the factions over the years. Anybody heard the term NIMBY? Not in my backyard. Okay, so there's a lot of groups out there that fought for many, many years against, which is basically the way California is laid out the way it is, so that you have to drive everywhere. Okay, you have your houses over here, your industrial over here, your whatever over here, and there's a lot of freeways and roads and everything. That's all zoning, okay? And while you have single family, and then you have multifamily, so all the apartments are in one spot, and all the houses are in the other spot, okay? So what people have been trying to do for years is get more density into the single family zones, okay? And so what we're talking about here is a little bit of upzoning and kind of forcing these things to change, okay? So that if, you know, if it makes sense in a neighborhood that you got a 50,000 square foot lot and you want to put a house in the back, you can, okay? A lot of, you know, there's definitely, and then there's the YIMBYs. Okay, so we got the NIMBYs, the not in my backyard, and then we got the YIMBYs. And what do you think the YIMBYs are? Yes, in my backyard. Okay, and the YIMBYs have been very on it the last few years, last decade or so. They're the ones that have been helping push through a lot of these new laws, okay? Like, yes, please build, because the only way we're gonna fix these problems is to, as main part of the solution, and a lot of these homeless solutions are gonna take more than one approach, but the main part of these solutions